Another day, another actor coming out to virtue signal over something utterly ridiculous. Step in former 007 actor Pierce Brosnan, who thinks we need a female 007. Piers Morgan attacks woke Hollywood after Pierce Brosnan calls for a female 007. Piers Morgan has had a full-scale meltdown on Good Morning Britain after former 007 star Piers Brosnan endorsed the idea that a woman should take on the role of James Bond. Now, I don't particularly agree with everything that Piers Morgan says. A lot of the time he can come out with utter shit, but this time I honestly agree with Piers on this. Piers Morgan, that is, not Piers Brosnan. Brosnan, who starred in 4 Bond films, says it is time to pass on the iconic role to a woman amid rumours that Lashana Lynch could take over after the forthcoming No Time to Die installment. Literally something that not one real Bond fan wants. Yes, he told The Hollywood Reporter, I think we've watched the guys do it for the last 40 years. Get out of the way, guys, and put women up there. I think it would be exhilarating. It would be exciting, Pierce Brosnan said. Yes, it would be so exciting to see yet another established film franchise going woke and pushing feminist politics. Just what all of the hardcore Bond fans really want. When they were watching your films, what everyone was actually asking was for James Bond to finally be a female, to finally bring in Jane Bond. He expressed doubt that the change would take place under the current producers. I don't think that's going to happen with the Broccolis. I don't think that's going to happen under their watch, he said. And I honestly don't blame them for wanting to do that, because they know if they did that, it would potentially lose them money. With a lot of TV franchises and film franchises, that's generally what's been happening. When they've been going woke, they've been losing money, losing ratings. So you can't honestly blame them for, let's say, at least being reluctant to want to make James Bond female. Brosnan added that Bond would have to change with the times to reflect movements such as Me Too, which he called relevant and significant. See, this is the problem. When you watch a spy thriller or a spy action film, like any of the 007 films, okay, we watch those films for a bit of escapism. The last thing we want when we watch a 007 film is to be lectured about current politics, specifically left-wing politics, which is pushed heavily in Hollywood these days. Responding to Brosnan's comments, Good Morning Britain presenter Piers Morgan branded it pathetic, virtue-signalling nonsense and claimed the campaign to save Bond starts right here. Now, though I'm not able to actually play any of the footage of what Piers Morgan actually said because I don't want to risk any kinds of copyright claims on this video, you can find a link to what he said on Good Morning Britain in the description. I may not agree with everything that Piers Morgan says, but I'd be lying if I said he was actually wrong in what he said right there. A female Bond simply would not work, and I'm going to be getting into why that wouldn't work in just a sec. But first I want to have a look at this article right here as well. This is what Rachel Weisz actually had to say regarding the idea of a female 007. What she apparently said was, no, women deserve their own stories, and I can't really disagree with her. Rachel Weisz is kind of right here. If you want to create strong female characters, if you want to do female stories, instead of infiltrating and just stealing established men's roles, for example like 007, just create new stories, create new characters, create new worlds and things like that. It'll at least receive a lot more positive reception than rewriting already established film and television franchises. This just goes to show that it's not just angry white men that are against the idea of a black female 007. There are also many angry female fans of 007 out there that are against this, contrary to what the mainstream media would want you to think, of course. But regarding the idea of creating a female 007 or a black female 007 as it seems, which is what they seem to be doing, at least in this upcoming 007 film. They're going to replace Daniel Craig potentially and get this Lashana Lynch actress to replace him. It's the last thing that anyone wants. It's certainly the last thing that any hardcore 007 fans want. If they actually go forward with such a decision, if they actually make this Lashana Lynch the new 007 and they just kick out Daniel Craig, or, you know, they eliminate the idea of having a white male James Bond as he is traditionally supposed to be, that's how he was described in the books, it's not going to bring in any new fans, or it might bring in a few fans, but it won't bring in that many, but it will alienate a huge majority of the established 007 fanbase. So to an extent, with the fact that they seem to be going woke with 007, all I have to say is, even though I don't want that, if they go forward with that, just see what would happen. Just look what would happen. If they actually did that, if they actually turned 007, okay, if they turned James Bond into a black female out of nowhere like that, just see what would happen. Hardly anyone would go to see it, I guarantee it. Or at the very least, it might make money, but it will probably make significantly less than films like Casino Royale, Skyfall, and Spectre, the most recent one. This film would flop. Yes, you'd probably have most of the woke critics and bought-off critics giving it 9s and 10s, but I guarantee audience ratings would be significantly lower, because that seems to be quite a trend these days in Hollywood. Not only do they push woke politics, but those films that do push heavily woke politics all coincidentally seem to get very, very positive reviews from these mainstream critics. Even though we don't want that, it seems like it's something that's going to happen. The only way you can stop this kind of wokeness from happening, to prevent it from continuing in the years to come, is by simply not paying to see these films. That is the only way we can get our message across that we don't want this. When you watch a 007 film, the last thing you want is to be lectured about current politics, to be lectured why the Orange Man is bad, or be lectured about how men are bad, or any kinds of messages like that. When you watch a 007 film, you want action, explosions, and you generally want a good story, okay? You just want a good action film. But hey, if the writers really want to go down that road, I say let them. Let them mess up 007 and watch the backlash it would get. And regarding what Pierce Brosnan here had to say, all I have to say is get gone with you. Okay, we can tell you're virtue signaling. You think it's going to score you some brownie points by saying we need a female 007. No, we don't. We didn't need one back when you were 007, so why should we need one now? If you really want to establish, you know, a female 00 agent, bring in new characters, but don't just change the already established ones. Bring in, I don't know, 008 or something like that. But changing the current 007 into a black female, all that's gonna do is just alienate the current fans of 007. That's ultimately what will happen. But anyway, people, be sure to let us know what you think about this down below. What are your opinions on Pierce Brosnan's comments? Be sure to let us know what you think about this down below, okay? Okay, gentlemen, this has been Lord Flashheart. Be sure to rate, comment, favourite, share and subscribe, and I will see you again. Cheerio.